Welcome to the Occupational Safety Leadership Podcast, episode number 265. And in today's episode, I'm going to tell folks about a little walk down memory lane I had. And I started to think to myself, and of course, I wish I'd thought about this years ago, be the safety leader that you want to follow. So I'm not sure about the studio audience, but I've had a lot of really great bosses. I mean, they've really been good. I can think of one that was not good, but I also wouldn't say that he was bad either. You know, I've been really blessed to have a lot of fantastic bosses. I really learned a lot from them. And one of the biggest things that I learned from them, of course, is as you're watching them, even somebody that can really ex, can give you a lot of wisdom and guidance and all that. They're not perfect either. So I don't certainly want us to think that we have people out there that we should put up on a pedestal as being perfect, because I've also learned from watching what I would call these brilliant leaders. They also do things, of course, too, that I learned from, like, ooh, I have to make sure I don't do that. So, and I'm purposely not naming any names of previous bosses. I don't have their permission and everything, but I learned a lot of great things. Things like things that you can't learn except by experience. One of them is you show up every day. I know at times as safety folks, we wake up and we're like, oh man, it's going to be one of them days, just because there's a lot of projects, things happening, high pressure meetings and stuff. One of the things that my early bosses always stressed is literally you have to consistently be there every single day. Obviously you earn time off, you take that time off. Obviously, if you're sick, you take that time off then. But you show up every day. And a few of them would even say there's going to be days where you don't feel like giving 100%. You're just tired, you're just frustrated, and it always say it doesn't matter. You give 100% every single day when you show up there. You just, so that was one of the big things um, that I took away from these. I also took away one of the very big principles is that they always had the courage to speak truth to power. It didn't matter who they were talking to, from the janitor to the CEO. They always told the truth. They didn't try and sugarcoat it. They didn't try and cover it up. They didn't try and, even though the situation's bad, I'm going to use nice flowery words. They did everything they could every time to say this is exactly what the situation was. Now they'd have to alter it, of course, because the janitor and the CEO, there's just different ways of communicating to them. The CEO is very, very focused on money. So not that safety is not awesome, but their big thing is money. Janitor a lot of times is very much more focused on safety and not thinking about profit margin and bottom line. So there's just two totally separate messages. That's also the thing I took away too, is that you have to come up with a way to get your point across. There's not going to be a 100% right and wrong way to talk to every single person out there. You have to tailor your message because it's up to you to make sure the other party understands what you're saying. It's not up to you to say it as you see fit. And then if there's any frustration, confusion, or anything, it has to be the other guy. There's no way that it could be you. So I really learned things that if you were to sit down and talk to me in a classroom, I'd say, okay, I got it, but that's not the same as experience it and going through these types of experiences out there. So they really provided me with what I thought was a fantastic foundation, a way to learn, a way to grow, a way to watch them. Because as I was coming on board, I was nothing more than just a young bald-faced boy who wanted to help people. And of course, there's a lot of ways to help people out there. One of the things they also um, had mentioned to me, and a little bit in passing, and almost like they were planting a seed, and it took time for that seed to grow is you have to talk to the workforce. You know, you can't sit in your office. You can't write policies and procedures and almost like you're sitting on the enterprise in the clerk chair and issue out orders. Things happen out there. You have to go out there, interact with the folks, talk to the folks who have to actually go back and implement this stuff, not just, oh, I've decided that this is going to be the policy and that's it. You got to get input from folks because then you get buy-in. There's also um, you can also be short-sighted and not really know what's going on out there if you're just sitting in your office, not really interacting with people. I mean, you show it up every day, you see people in the hallway, and you say hi. That's not quite the same as walking that chemical plant, walking that factory floor, talking to the people, literally walking and just saying, I want to watch what you're doing here. It could be uncomfortable for both parties, but you just want to kind of understand the operations happening out there. So that's just a few things that I really learned from having a whole series of fantastic bosses. But the big thing that I took away from this is that they were always extremely humble. They would say, I'm not perfect, but this is really what works for me. And they would also say, I want you to take away the good stuff and you're going to find the bad stuff. Do not mimic me on the bad stuff. You just worry about the good stuff. Um, so I was sitting down this weekend, kind of on a big rock on a mountain, kind of overlooking this valley, and I just was just really just, gosh, have I had just such a fantastic set of bosses that really helped me out. So all of us have probably had that person out there, and maybe it might not have been a direct boss, but somebody that you would say, wow, that's really a person that if I had to follow, that's going to be the kind of person I want to follow. That's the kind of person that inspires confidence, doing the right thing, keeping your word, things like that that we've all heard as we were growing up, but you have to go out and implement them in the real world. Totally different than hearing it from people, of course, experiencing it. So at this point, I think I'm just starting to drone on. So let's go ahead and wrap up. This was episode 265, where we talked about be the safety leader that you want to follow. So that is it for today's episode. Thank you for listening. My name is Dr. David Ayers. Have a safe day.